Even the thought of wearing sweatpants in public to him was like, whoa.
This guy sounds like a catch. What's going on? He dresses nice.
Like textbook, he sounds like a really cool.
No, you don't. You didn't like him. Why is that? Why do you say he was awful?
He was just very possessive and very. Yes, he had traditional views, but it was very more like, no, you are mine. Like, it was just.
When you say
he was like, gross.
He didn't like that I liked to party.
Okay, so when you say possessive, is that what you mean? He wanted to spend, like when you wanted to go out on a Friday, he would rather you stay in with him.
Yeah, he was always like, oh, I'm not going to stop you from going out, but I would prefer if you didn't.
Okay.
So
that you're making him sound so much nicer than he actually was.
Okay, well here, why don't you tell us the extent of it? Go ahead.
Okay, I feel like he wasn't. Okay, how do I word this? Just a lot of the comments that he made were very misogynistic and very like not okay. I think the time.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples here. Yeah, you're allowed. Just like, oh, I don't want anybody else to see your body. Like, just that. But it's.
Anything else? I understand that. Like, obviously, if you're in a relationship, I get that. But just the way that it was said, I feel like is.
Yeah.
How did he say it? I
agree. Even when he would describe, I think that's another thing.
This guy watches the podcast.
He would describe people who I would put myself in the same category as, like girls who party or wear like revealing clothes kind of to party, or even just like crop tops. And he would word it in a way that's like, oh, well, I don't like when people dress like a slut. But it's like, I've worn more revealing things than that girl, you know? So
he didn't want you going out partying. He wanted you to dress modestly.
Yeah.
And you mentioned he was being misogynistic. Were there any other things that you considered misogynistic?
I can't think of any specific examples.
Just so I make sure we're talking about the same thing, just how do you define misogyny?
Well, he for sure thinks that men are better than women.
But when you say he for sure thinks that, did he say that?
Not directly.
So indirectly, how did he communicate that?
Just in like I think especially when talking to her, she was like, it's more like he didn't want her to have a career. He didn't want her to.
No, he definitely, even talking about the future, he was very fast with like talking about the future and, oh, would you want children? Would you whatever? And even talking about working, he was like, well, would you want to still work if you had children? Because I personally would want you to stay at home and.
Okay.
This guy's my hero. Like, I mean, everything that he's saying sounds awesome. I don't actually understand what the problem is. Like, he sounds great.
Yeah, I think.
I think when you put it down, when you write it down and you say it out loud, it sounds, yes, traditional, but I do think it is the way that people say it and the intentions behind it.
Okay. And so, wait, you said that he thinks, although he didn't say the words, you said that he thinks that men are better than women.
Oh, for sure.
But how do you know that?
It was also a lot of like the way we would communicate. It was very much him telling us or telling me like what we're gonna do, or like, oh, when am I gonna see you, or I'll pick you up. And it was never like, oh, like what time do you want to meet? It was just, I'm picking you up at 7.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting to hear a single bad quality here for this guy. I'm like I want to be on your side. I want to be with you on this and dislike this guy right alongside you, but he just sounds fucking awesome. Like in every conceivable, I haven't heard anything bad about him yet.
Wait, so you said he would want to, like he wouldn't ask you, oh, does 6 p.m. work? He would say, I'm picking you up at 7. But I see that. That was a trend like a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, of like women in their thing saying they want a guy to tell them, we're going here, I'm picking you up at this time. But you don't like that. You want the guy to consult with you.
I appreciate him like making the plans, but also I feel like he didn't consider if I wanted to be picked up at 7. So that type of way where it's like, Or even if I would say, oh, I'm not sure because I have an essay to write that night. I'm not sure if I have time to meet you. It would kind of, he would just for me be like, okay, well, what time does your class end? Like, oh no, you can do it. And it was, he didn't consider what I wanted to do. And yeah.
Okay, so really quick though, going back to what you said, I know you said he's a misogynist. Just, I don't know if you provide an answer on this. Just how do you define misogyny, just so I know we're talking about the same thing?
I think it's just in my...
I think that was a question for her.
Okay. Okay, now I'm being put on the spot. Well, I feel like if there's a power balance that you believe is correct between men and women, I think that's the biggest...
Wait, can you clarify what you mean there? A power balance or imbalance?
Power imbalance.
If you believe that there's...
That is correct. if
believe
you're okay with that. And if you're...
Okay. So you don't believe in any sort of gender expectations at all when it comes to dating?
I think that there are some expectations, but it...
But you reject them? Or do you... No, go ahead. Actually, go ahead.
No, there are definitely expectations, I mean, but I don't think it's gender specific, just to be respectful as a person.
Yeah, sure. Did we get a definition, though, on the misogyny thing? Because people have different definitions for that, so I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing.
Well...
I feel like it's hard to define.
It's hard to specifically define, because I feel like there are a lot of examples. So just because I feel like you don't have to be a misogynist by just like, oh, I hate women. Like, it's not that. There are also a lot of small...
Like a microaggression?
Oh, I wouldn't call it microaggression, but slightly, yeah.
So what are
I don't really understand, though. How are you guys calling people misogynists but can't tell us what that is?
Do you mind if I
add?
Do. I feel like when I would call someone a misogynist, it's when I feel that they value women less than men, and it's more like what you say matters less because you're a woman.
Oh. Wait, why is it the trigger's off? I'll just read it. Chick with a perfect boyfriend. Sounds like you broke up with the wrong person. Spiteful, jealous, feminazi friend. Whoa, okay. Be nice, Nickelodeon. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to read it. Sitting next to you is who you need to... Okay. All right. I'll know. The Streamlabs triggers are all fucked up. I'm going to fix that here in just a sec, boys. Continue on with your statement. Go ahead.
What was I saying?
I see what
you were saying that when you define misogyny, you just mean it that it's when men think that they're better than women, essentially.
Yeah, and I think when they feel that they can disrespect women, and
so then, would you say that a misandrist would be the same thing, just the opposite? Women who feel like they're better than men, they would be misandrists. They would be misogynist in reverse.
I think if they're using it as because they are a man, then yes.
Okay.
All right. It's interesting though, the longest relationship you've had, you dated them for 6 weeks, you dated misogynist. By your definition anyways.
Yeah.
How early on did you determine that he was did you assess that he was a so-called misogynist?
I think in the beginning it was little like comments he would make, and then he would correct himself afterwards, like, oh, I'm not a misogynist, but da-na-na. And it was like,
wait, what would he say?
Okay.
What would he say?
I don't remember what he said.
I'm not a racist, but if somebody ever says I'm not a racist, but they're about to say some racist shit.
I forgot what he said, because his roommate even pointed it out too.
His roommate pointed it out.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, I think it was about making his bed.
He wanted you to make his bed?
No, I was like pulling the covers of it, And I fixed it after he fixed it, and he was like, of course you'd be better than me, you're a woman. And I was like, okay. And his roommate was like, that's misogynistic of you.
Is this like in the dorm room or something?
No, his bedroom.
Oh, is it like a double or something?
Yeah.
College. Okay. Damn. All right. Good times.
And at first I thought he was just being like silly, and then I realized that he actually wholeheartedly believed that.
We got to get this guy on the show. He sounds like a legend. He probably watches the show.